Folks, so on here, what I'm going to show you is how you can set up discussion boards and forums within your OWL site. So essentially what you need to do first is if you don't have forums already, you need to add in forums. So you can do that by going into site info and then going into, I think it's managing tools. Yeah, so you can see it here. So that displays forums and topics of a particular site. So that's where you can do it. So I'll just go back in here, finish. I got a lot of tools you can see that I use on mine. Okay, so now I'm going to go into forums. And as I scroll down, here we go. So essentially, this is a way that you can have students basically setting up new ways to discuss and interact with one another. So it's an easy, pretty straightforward way to get some of that student-student interaction that can be lacking sometimes in online environments. But to do this well, you have to have a few considerations in mind. So first of all, what I did, if you didn't see just a minute ago, I went into forums, and then I went into new forum. Okay, so this is kind of my title. So for example, later this week, my students are going to be talking about CBD and inflammation. So I'm going to put my short description here of what it is that they are doing. So post your synopsis of your CBD article here. Okay. Now, there's a few important things that you can do in terms of topics, settings that I really like. And one is this button here, require users to post before reading. This way you kind of get rid of that whole, just kind of repeating what somebody else said. So students have to be a little bit more original this way. And I think it's really nice that way to have the users post before reading. So they can still read all of the posts afterwards, but this way they have to post something original first. And then what you can see down here is the permissions. So these permissions basically mean who can do what in this particular forum. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and save settings and add a topic. And what I'm going to do here is that I am going to break my class into groups. So they're already established in groups based on a different project that they have to do. And they're going to be in their groups so that the smaller groups are basically going to be communicating with one another in the forum. So instead of having 42 students all posting and commenting on one another's stuff, I'm going to split them into groups of about 4 students. Okay, so yeah, my topic title here, I can have what's new with CBD. So I'm talking about CBD, and I'll say post your short synopsis of your CBD article here. So if you go back to the OWL site afterwards, what I can show you is kind of some hints for ways to post or have engagement by using discussion forums. A lot of times just having a simple prompt or a simple question might not be sufficient. So I'll give you a few different ideas of what you can do there. So again, what you can see here is with this topic settings, I have that users are required to post before reading. What you could also do if you're interested is have posts being anonymous. If you are trying to mark students for this, though, I don't suggest doing that option. But let's say you're making a discussion forum if they have questions about an aspect of what work you're going to be doing going forward, or if they have questions for clarification. It might make a lot of sense to have the post being anonymous. I find that sometimes that can help decrease student anxiety about, not knowing the right answer or seeming dumb or something in front of their peers. So you can associate this with a gradebook item as well. I'm not going to do that for the time being, but what I'm going to show you here is that as you go through, you can see I have all these different groups. Okay, so this are the groups that I created before, and I believe Angela Baya had a whole little video on how to create groups. It's either Angela or Anita, sorry, whichever one of you it was. So what I'm going to do here is look at the permission level. Okay, so this means in this particular forum, what can people do? So if I had a student as an owner or contributor, that means that the student could contribute to all of these different ones. I don't want to do that. I want the instructor and the librarian and the secondary instructor, a lot of times these are my TAs, to be able to contribute. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these topics into different groups. So the topic title here is What's New with CBD, and I'm going to have this for group 1. Okay, so when I go in, I can see that it's group 1. So if I'm going here into the permissions, what I'm going to say is that group 1, they're going to be an author, but the rest of these groups, you can see here, is none. Okay, so they're not contributing, so only group 1 is going to have access to this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save these settings and add a topic. Basically, I'm going to do the same thing. So what's new with CBD, topic, or it'll be group 2. Yeah, I can't type. So I have require users to post before reading. And then what I'm going to go and do is down here, instead of design pitch group 1 being authors, they will be none. And then I will have design pitch group 2. Okay, as authors. And then you can go through and do that for all of the different groups that you might have. So depending on your class, I recommend having smaller groups. So again, I said I have a class of 42, and I tend to put them into groups of about 4. For online discussion forums, you could do a little bit more. I'd say maybe like between 6 and 8 could be fine as well. But you don't want it to be too much larger than that because it might get a little unwieldy with all sorts of different students contributing. So that's my kind of best practices approach. So anyways, what I've shown you on here is how you can go through and put in a discussion forum. Now at the end here, what I'm going to do is save. So let's assume that I've added all these different groups in. I'm going to save. Save. Then I'm going to go into CBD and inflammation. And you can see my forum here. So post your synopsis of your CBD article here. Here are my 2 different groups. I can duplicate the topic if I want. I can delete it if maybe I made a mistake. And you can see that I've given them the prompt here. All right. So in the lesson associated with this, in one of the lesson pages, I am going to have more details about what I expect from them. But right here, it's very simply post your synopsis of your CBD article here. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Discussion forums, this is a pretty easy way to do it. There are other apps that you can use, and I'll show you quickly one called Padlet.